everybody, it's Lon.TV, and we're checking out the Kingston 5-in-1 mobile companion today, and the folks from Kingston sent us to the show to review. So what this does is a lot of different things, actually. It's got a battery inside so it can charge your phone. It's 4,640 milliamp hours, so you could probably get 2 charges, give or take, on the iPhone. So you just plug it into its USB port here, and you can see my phone is now charging. What it's also got, though, as you can see, is a SD card slot. It supports up to the SDXC format, which I think theoretically goes to 2 terabytes. So you can then connect to this wirelessly via your phone or computer and transfer files back and forth or even stream media from it. You can also, if you unplug the phone, plug in a USB memory stick and move files back and forth between the 2 devices here, or just access files from each device separately on your phone. So it has the ability to do two kinds of things on the USB port on there. It also has a micro USB port on the front for charging. So if you plug this into your computer, it'll charge it. You can plug it into any phone charger. You can also turn it off when you plug it into your computer, and it will work as a card reader. So you get access to the 2 slots on here for accessing memory cards and that sort of thing. And last but not least, it also has an Ethernet port on the back, so you can plug in a wired internet connection and then use this as a hotspot. So if you're in a hotel with only one wired connection, you can plug this in and then presumably, depending on the compatibility of the network and everything else, be able to share an internet connection with other devices wirelessly as well. So a lot of things to cover, and we're going to go through the mobile app first, and then we'll look at what it looks like when you connect to it with a computer. All right, so I've put in a memory stick onto the USB port, as well as connected a SD card to the SD card slot, and I've connected to the device with my phone. So you can see here you have both of those cards available to you on the interface. The USB drive is at the top and the SD card is at the bottom. So I could, for example, kind of browse into the SD card a little bit and find some photos that I want to copy over. So you click the little check mark in the lower left-hand corner, select a few images that you want to copy, and then you go over to the little folder icon there and select where you want those to go. So we'll copy from the SD card to the USB drive, and we'll say copy here at the bottom, and then you'll see it is transferring the files over. You're not going to see blazing fast performance out of the data transfers here. I found them to be pretty slow, and sometimes when you have like a really big video file, it takes a long time, and you got to make sure your phone stays on and all that sort of stuff. So it's a little difficult, I think, to really go after huge like multi-gigabyte files like this, but maybe doing smaller files makes more sense. And then of course you can plug your phone in directly later for those sorts of things. So we copied a couple of files over there. Also, I want to maybe copy over some files from my phone, so I can pull up that little menu on the side there and say copy from photos, and it will go into my camera roll, and I can pick out a couple of things that I want to copy there. So maybe I'll select these 2 videos from my Instagram album. The interface for moving files off your phone is different than it is for moving files back and forth between the cards. As you're watching here, we're doing the same thing we just did a minute ago, but everything kind of functions a little differently. So you have to kind of train yourself a little bit there. So we'll copy those 2 video files over. These are very small video files, but you can see it is taking a little bit of time to get those 2 files copied over. But once they are, those are now on the USB drive. And even though the thumbnails haven't generated yet, I can click on one of those files and play it back. It is a little slow, so you can see it's coming back over, and we'll hit the play icon here, and we can watch that video. And then I can go back and maybe do the other one also, just to play that one maybe, and tap on that. And we'll go and wait for that to come down. Again, we've got to wait a minute or 2 here. And there we go. We can watch that video as well. So pretty cool way to do that. You can imagine if you have like a larger media file that you loaded onto the SD card or the USB stick ahead of time, you can play those movies back to your phone, provided everything is compatible with it. There are some settings as well. So if you go over to the right-hand side here, again, we'll go to the settings icon. Here you can go ahead and change the name of the device. This is what the SSID will look like when you try to connect to it wirelessly. You can also add security, so you can put a password on it. There's no way to password protect the app. So if somebody connects to this thing and they have the app installed, they'll be able to get access to those files. So you probably want to lock it down when you first get it. They actually have you do that on the first boot. So the first time you go in, they'll kind of guide you through a process to add that wireless password to it. A couple other things that you can do with this as well is set up a 3G USB modem. There's some instructions on their website for that. So you could, if it's compatible, plug in a 3G or a 4G modem into the USB port and then use this as a hotspot as well. So if you just have a plug-in modem that doesn't have a Wi-Fi connectivity to it, you can connect that modem to this and make it a Wi-Fi hotspot. So that is something else you can do. The other thing you'll see here, it says network connection. You can connect the Kingston device to your local network and then pass the internet through to your phone wirelessly, because when you have the phone connected, you're connecting wirelessly to your device, and if you still want to access the internet with Wi-Fi, you can do that through here, provided you connect this to your local network, and then they'll pass the Wi-Fi connection through the Kingston over to your device, and you'll still be able to pass files back and forth. Now, it has some cool stuff on here as well that isn't in the manual for your computer. So if you do connect your computer wirelessly, I got my Mac here connected to it right now, you have a little web server that you can log into at this address up here, and you can go in and browse the contents of the both the SD card and the USB card. The only thing that happens, though, I found, is if you click on a photo, you'll be able to view that photo once, and then the web server on it crashes. So it's probably not the most ideal way to look at files on the device, but you can certainly get access to them that way. You could also download the movies or any other file just by clicking on it. So if your web browser can display that file, you can get at it. Another thing that was kind of cool, though, is that if you go onto your computer's file browser, whether in Windows or on the Mac, the Mobilelite device will show up as a hard drive on your network. So it works a lot like a network-attached storage device does as well. And what you can do there is, for example, log into the USB stick again, and I can go and grab a movie file off of my computer's hard drive here and just drag it on like you would any other file and copy it over. So we'll drag that file over there. And if we go back to my phone, we'll see that the file is on here. So I'll just tap on that, and it should start streaming that file wirelessly back from the Kingston device. So, and I think it's ready to go. So there we go. We can watch the video file that way. So that is the Kingston 5-in-1 mobile companion. This is a great little device, especially for streaming movies in the car. So if you've got a couple of kids and you want them to watch something on there without filling up their devices, load it up on a USB stick, plug it in, they can connect to it wirelessly, and I think you'll get a lot of battery life out of this. This has a high capacity battery, and the streaming and Wi-Fi function isn't going to kill it all that quickly. So I've had this thing on for the last 2.5 hours or so, actively communicating with it while I was testing it, and I haven't really made a dent in the battery life at all. It doesn't say exactly how much has been used up, but the battery indicator is still showing full bars. So I'm sure I probably used maybe 5 or 10% of it, but there's still plenty of life left in it. Kingston says you'll get about 12 hours of streaming out of it without a phone plugged in. If you plug a phone in, of course, that will start draining the battery faster, but really good for that sort of thing. Just keep in mind you cannot use a copy-protected movie file that you got from the iTunes store or maybe the Google Play Store. So you have to have something that is free of copy protection. So I would recommend using Handbrake or Make MKV to take a movie off of a disc that you own so that you can play those files back without the limitations of the digital rights management. But it works great as a phone charger, it works great as a media streamer. I would recommend not moving large files from your phone to this and vice versa, but you can certainly stream large files after you've already copied the files on, and the fact that it takes a USB stick and a memory card makes it pretty easy to use. This is Lon.TV. Thanks for watching.